Oh, they were very... Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's all good.
I stepped on your intro. Back to one, everybody. Back to one. Set. Rolling. Action.
We're back. Over here. At this place. Now, what were you saying?
I was just complimenting the game we're about to play on being very careful to make sure that the first two locations are equidistant from the starting point. So that I actually have to make a choice, and I can't just tell you to take the most efficient route to all the buildings. That game that we are playing is the MS-DOS... This is DOS, right?
It is DOS.
Computer version of the board game... Da, 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 da. There it is.
221B Baker Street.
Which eagle-eared listeners may recognize as the address of the fictitious character Sherlock Holmes. So this is a clue-like board game in that you go to different locations and pick up clues to find out who did a fairly random generated crime. And we will be going through that today.
And it's gonna be fun for anybody who likes putting together clues to solve a crime. Will not be using joystick. Coded clues would take far too long. Who in this universe are we playing as?
We'll probably have to be Holmes, right? Irene Adler is kind of a weird choice.
I mean, I don't know that there's a functional difference among the four. They're just different pawns on the board.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Let's be Holmes, the man himself.
Holmes.
Holmes.
The case disc is loaded. There are 30 of them listed such.
Are they the same every time?
Each of these is, yes. So there are 30 distinct cases in this game. There is a second case disc for DOS, which I am attempting to track down, but I don't think I am likely to find, unfortunately. Some of these cases are the same as the board game. Others are unique to DOS. Others are unique to the board game. So in the similar game I'm doing tomorrow night and on Fridays for a while with Blue Genius on Tabletop Sim, some of these cases will appear over there. So it'll basically be two sides of the same coin and on different interfaces. But
I don't want to ruin it for you.
no, it's fine.
You're a very patient man. You would watch it twice.
Listen, in as much as how close I did West of Loathing both times and Shadows over Loathing
That's a
both
great
times,
point.
This is nothing, especially since I'm DMing instead of playing. So I mean, you kind of do it all the time if you're a game show host anyway. So
that
whatever.
is true, and that is the fantasy that we're giving.
Yep. So let's start at the beginning, shall we?
Yeah, and just in case I adore this and I want to do them all, and I would want to do them all in order.
Absolutely. So we'll start with the adventure of the holy or the unholy man. Now let's get up to speed here. Around 3,000 frames. There we go. So we always begin at the southwest corner of the map at 221 Baker Street. And to start
Indeed,
out,
this is our house.
Yep, and to start out, there is always a story. So you have a notepad of some sort, right?
No, let me go get one. I forgot that I actually really had to work at this. Hang on.
Sorry.
Either that or I have post-it notes that are about 2 inches wide, so I think I'll get a slightly bigger piece of paper.
Either way works. And when Wit gets back, I will read the first story. I've been looking forward to this in one form or another for a long time. Very happy that we are going to be able to do this now. And I will also state that further to the point of looking at chat, while I have a story up, I will not be able to see it, but I will switch back to chat as we get into gameplay.
Okay. I got a notebook.
Cool.
I got a pen.
Alright, so, the adventure of the unholy man. A strange preacher had come to town, a large Morocco-bound Bible under his arm. Scotland Yard is puzzled when the preacher is found stabbed to death in his balcony seat at the Playhouse during a performance of Hamlet.
Whoa, slow down.
Yeah, we're gonna digest each paragraph.
Paragraph?
Yes. A strange preacher had come to town, a large Morocco-bound Bible under his arm.
Okay.
Scotland Yard
And then he was stabbed in his balcony seat at a production of Hamlet?
Production of Hamlet at the Playhouse, which is someplace on the map. Yeah, toward the north center of the map.
Okay.
All right. Next sentence. I guess these are short anyway. Duchess Talcourt, who accompanied the victim to the Playhouse, discovered the body upon returning from the powder room after intermission.
Pause.
Yep.
Okay.
The preacher's Bible was gone, and on the floor nearby were two things. I'll give you those when you're ready.
Okay.
One was a German-made cigarette.
German. Okay.
And a packet of aspirin.
Okay.
It was common knowledge that the Duchess, previously a benefactor of the Bishop of Wittenfroth, had come to support the new preacher's views. So the Duchess was previously a benefactor of...
Bishop of who now?
Bishop of Wittenfroth, spelled such.
Witten. Okay.
Had come to support the new preacher's views, which I read that as agreeing with the preacher.
Right.
This greatly angered the bishop and Duke Talcourt.
Okay.
The Longworth... Actually, you know what? I want to try something. I'm going to copy-paste the story. So we are at the Longworth acting troupe on this.
Oh boy.
If I read the rest of this for benefit of the stream, will you be able to take notes still? Based on the okay, cool. The rest of the story is such. The Longworth acting troupe was performing the play, Earl Longworth in the lead. Longworth, a rascally cad, had been wooing the Duchess's daughter, Anastasia, in hopes of gaining support for his poverty-stricken troupe. And then Scotland Yard wants to know three things. Who killed the preacher, the weapon, and the motive. And in best Sherlock Holmes tradition, we must say...
Oh, the game is afoot. Okay.
That might be a better way to do things. That way I can read and you can take notes with a much easier way of reading it.
Indeed.
Okay,
Well,
so
then,
where to?
if I counted correctly, the bank and the apothecary are equidistant, so why don't we hit the bank?
Head for the bank. Okay. Let me raise my map so I can see this, and also raise the chat so I can see that. Move this over here. And there we go.
If I am not mistaken, everybody's going to have some sort of clue, right?
Yeah, well, here, aside from looking away from the screen, everybody would be able to see the clue. On the board game, however, the DM would basically be holding the card and reading.
No. I'm sorry. I said that wrong. Every location should have something
Yes,
to give me.
every location aside from 221B will have a clue.
Is there anything in 221B? What happens if we try to go there?
Well, let's see it for science. There's no clue here, and you cannot solve the case without a badge. Now, mechanically speaking, you have to go up to Scotland Yard all the way in the northwest in order to pick up a badge, and then run it back to 221B Baker Street to make your guess. Making your guess uses up the badge, so if you're wrong, you have to go back and get another badge and then return.
And normally that matters because you would be trying to doing it faster than other people.
Yeah, it matters in multiplayer, not so much here.
Now, in multiplayer, especially in the regular board game, if the clues are printed on the same cards, you could accidentally see more than just the one you unlocked.
Which makes it ideal to have a DM, yes.
But it means that everybody would get to hear it.
Yeah. It's extremely unideal. The way they did that. You'd have to almost have one clue printed on a single card each time to make that practical, but that's not how the board game did it. So I'll have to figure out some way to do that in practicality, but in the meantime, it should work okay for how I'm planning to do both this and Friday. But anyway,
Carl, can you double check what she's chewing on?
But anyway, that's what happens at 221B.
Okay. Then to the bank.
Here's your clue. Talcourt is a well-known collector of original manuscripts.
The Duke or the Duchess?
Doesn't say.
It's probably the Duke. They always talk about men.
After each clue, you can tell me you think you have the solution in full, and I'll just run for the badge and run back.
Well, I was thinking we would make our way north to the badge and just get it, unless you have to immediately use it. You can't just...
No. You can carry it until you make your stop.
Alright, then let's get out of here and go to the hotel, which is the next stop to the north.
Anastasia did not like the strange preacher.
Okay, keep going north.
Let's get the badge first.
Indeed.
And then the clue. The victim had a handsome tan, peculiar in London.
Interesting. Okay, let's make our way east.
Into the museum?
Indeed.
Longworth is considered a foremost authority on the authenticity of original manuscripts. Seems a little close to a previous clue, doesn't it?
Yeah, the Duke collected them, but the Longworth can vouch for their authenticity.
Just different enough. Two different men. So, there's another mechanic in this game from Scotland Yard or the Locksmith that you can lock a location from other players and force them to pick up a key somewhere. So you can stop somebody from getting a clue that you're carrying.
Oh, in
This doesn't much matter here in single player, but
So, okay, in the board game.
Mhm.
Actually, no, in the computer game.
Yeah.
Do you have to have seen some like special clue in order to mechanically make the guess?
No. You can just
Okay.
take your shot at the beginning if you so choose.
Yeah. So,
You'll never get it right that way, but sure.
and then again in the board game, if everybody can hear what's read aloud, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's the part that I am. That's the part that I'm trying to figure out.
Is the key mechanic in the board game?
Yes.
Bizarre. Okay. Obviously, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to the playhouse just yet. Go down to the west, around the playhouse, down to the Herald, please. So south, but southwest.
The original manuscript of Hamlet was stolen recently from an exhibit on the Riviera.
Interesting. Okay. Take me to the apothecary.
Longworth has constant headaches.
Interesting. Okay, let's go east to the pawnbroker.
The killer clue has two parts, and the second is value.
What the fuck does that mean?
It means there's a part 1 in some other location.
What does to value mean?
That means it's the second part of this two-part clue.
And I'll just know what it means at some point?
They expect it to make sense when you have both clues together.
Okay. Let's go north to the docks.
General motive clue. You can't judge a book by its cover.
Okay.
It should be said that at this moment I don't know the solutions to any of the books, or any of the stories.
Yeah, okay, that is good to know. Although that just answered a question I think, a question. North to the park, please?
Part 1 of the killer clue is not short.
Okay, that answered no questions. Is it the fact that it's Tallcourt? Or Longworth?
Because I don't know any solutions, I will say think about them as a compound word.
So it's Longworth. It's Longworth. This is stupid. That's a very stupid mechanic. Okay, fine. Now when you exit the park, can you choose which exit you go out of?
Unknown. Nope, it appears to dump you out the other side.
Well, that's actually where I wanted to go, which is lovely. Let's go to the playhouse. I have to know the motive and the weapon?
The motive, the weapon, and the killer.
Well, killer's easy.
The bishop was in attendance at the playhouse the night of the murder.
Yeah, whatever. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna fucking dump the lock.
Yeah. Take us up to the carriage house.
So from here, you have a choice to go to any of the other 14 locations, or change your code if you're playing on coded words, or get a clue here.
Well, I'll take the clue, please.
Of course. Longworth was seen reading a Bible to the victim and the Duke the day before the murder.
A Bible. Not that Bible.
Think I'm starting to see what's up here.
Okay. That actually made it less clear to me. South to the tobacconist?
The bishop smokes German-made cigarettes.
Okay. And I guess down to the pub. And then the locksmith. In general, I'm going to do this exact same path for every case, because there's no reason not to.
Good enough. Longworth does not smoke.
Okay. And to the locksmith.
There's another mechanic in the game. See that sewer?
Yep. Is it a fast travel point to the top corner?
To one of 7 locations, which may be chosen at random. I'm not sure.
Oh, I only see one other. Oh, I guess it's the entrance.
General weapon clue. The Bible says that if you live by one, you'll die by one.
I'd like to thank the YouTuber Jenny Nicholson for her one of her recent videos on a church in Canada that does some fairly unhinged Easter plays and then films them all, and so she watched all of them and treated them like as basically media criticism. Because she thought it was incredibly funny how they kept taking popular media characters and crucifying them every year as Jesus allegories. And one of the lines that they put in almost every one of their Easter plays, that's the point that it's become a laugh line to the audience because they recognize it, is, if you live by the sword, you'll die by the sword. And I've just rewatched that video earlier this week, so I'd like to thank Jenny Nicholson for letting me know that the answer to the weapon is sword.
Okay.
Um,
If I count correctly, that's all 15.
It is.
So what's on your mind thus far?
So the sword part's easy.
Mm-hmm.
I expected the weapon to have a little more to do with anything else, but it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
They did say stabbed, so I guess that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think it had to have been both the bishop and Longworth, the actor, because they each had a clue at the scene, and each of their clues were like mutually exclusive to the other.
Right, but the killer clues point entirely to one person.
Indeed.
Now the motive.
The motive is a lot harder for me because I think it has something to do with the manuscript of Hamlet that was stolen.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had found it and was claiming it was his Bible, but it wasn't.
That sounds pretty good to me, actually.
Yeah, but why do you kill a guy about that? The only thing I can think of is that Longworth, like, maybe bought it off him and wasn't fooled because he knew manuscript authenticity, and that's why he killed him. But I don't know how the Hamlet I don't know why the manuscript made Longworth angry. I don't know why he knew about it at all. So the only I could think of is that he the preacher gave it to him or sold it to him or something. Let's go to Baker Street and see what that looks like, because maybe it'll be multiple choice and one of them will make sense.
Well, the board game sure isn't, but it would make some kind of sense for the DOS game to do it. Wait, where's the badge? What the hell happened?
Did we have to use it immediately?
I don't know. I didn't notice it disappear.
Was there any other thing the badge is used for that we accidentally used it on?
Unless the badge is also the locking mechanism and the key
I bet it is.
unlock. Okay, for science.
I also don't see any indication that we have it.
Oh. Well, at this point, look at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, that's the indication that we have it.
And it is indeed the locking mechanism, so I had that wrong.
That's good to know. Yeah, let's give it a shot.
Okay. So they give you the warning that everybody else needs to look away at this point.
Indeed.
Who is the killer?
Number 3, please.
And the weapon?
Number 2, please.
And the motif? How would you best describe the theory that's running around in your head?
Manuscript?
That's it.
Yeah, okay, explain this to me, video game.
Certainly.
The preacher was in fact a thief who had stolen the original manuscript of Hamlet from an exhibit on the Riviera, where he also acquired his tan. Yeah, got that. The preacher disguised the manuscript as the Bible and had Longworth authenticate it for the Duke, whom the preacher hoped would buy it. Longworth, however, in desperate need of money, killed the preacher with Hamlet's sword and stole the manuscript. Longworth, who does not smoke, planted the German-made cigarette near the victim's body to throw suspicion from himself, but in the process he accidentally dropped his packet of aspirin. Okay, this is stupid.
Too stupid?
Because if they hadn't had the dumb manufactured clue of not long, not short value, there would be no way to differentiate which is the fake clue and which is the real clue.
So you're not into word puzzles, then?
Okay, I am into word puzzles. There is no reason in the universe of the story for anyone to have given me a word puzzle. Do you know what I mean? That wasn't detective work, that was a contrivance game mechanic.
Is it damning to future play here?
As long as they limit it to 1 or 2 per case, no, but I am
mechanically
lodging a complaint that's not how detectiving happens.
Well, mechanically that was only one element where that was made, so
yeah, the sword thing also a little contrived, because there was no one, there was no character who had that information who gave it to me. That was some weird omniscient trickster narrator.
I don't know how else you would do a game like this.
I mean, there would have to be something that said, like, the bishop had been there, but he left long before intermission or something, and that's when he must have dropped his cigarette.
I see what you're saying.
And, like, was seen while the guy was still alive, kind of shit. Okay.
So yeah, here's the solution in short. Not even a rating for this. Oh well. Shall we go on?
Yeah. Is there any reason not to get all the clues between you and I?
Not really, no. Pride, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I'll see if there's one that, like, makes any fucking sense, but
I don't know.
it was our bad for getting the sword clue very last.
I don't know. I'm just a simple DM.
Anyway, take me to the next case.
Right. The Adventure of Silver Patch and story incoming. The story is such. Yesterday morning, the famous
No! Sorry, I just read ahead.
Yesterday morning, the famous thoroughbred horse, Silver Patch, and his trainer, Oscar Swit, were found dead in the horse's stall at the Cosgrove stables. The horse had been poisoned, and the trainer had been hit over the head and stabbed repeatedly with a sharp object. Silver Patch, so named for the patch of silver hair on his mane, was owned by Sir Reginald Cosgrove, a breeder who also owns 4 other horses. Persons routinely questioned by Inspector Gregson of Scotland Yard include Sir Reginald Cosgrove and his petite wife, Madame Hilda Cosgrove, the Cosgrove cook, Mrs. Maggie Doane, Mrs. Doane's husband, house painter Harry Doane, and rival horse breeder Sir Archibald Baxter. Scotland Yard is also looking for one Bobby Jansen, a stable boy who left the Cosgroves' employ unhappily about a month ago. The only clues discovered at the scene of the crime were some broken pieces of glass from the bottom of an ale bottle and a pawnbroker's ticket. Unable to develop a solid lead, Inspector Gregson has come to 221B Baker Street to consult with the master sleuth. Gregson wants to know A. Who killed the horse and the trainer? B. The weapon used to kill the trainer? And C. The motive. I will let you finish this when you are ready.
Yeah. I have lots to write down.
I may have underestimated the length of gameplay a little bit, but if this turns out to be okay the rest of the night, it might not be such a bad thing.
They say that she's little. He's just a sir.
You can't spell petite without P and tit.
I mean, I guess.
It's quite literally a tit in my P. Seriously, look at how it's spelled.
You're not wrong. Just writing down all these characters I suddenly have to keep track of.
There may be something wrong with me. Hooray, hooray.
Okay, let's proceed to the bank.
We gotta use the line.
Oh, the game is afoot.
Yeah.
Obviously. Oh, I should switch back to the stream.
Sir Reginald Cosgrove had a large insurance policy on Silver Patch.
Well, now I know the answer to that. Because they presented me with insurance as a motive from last time. And they probably only have a few locked and loaded answers. And so now I am willing to bet that is what it was.
No.
It was... So, hang on. Do I have to... I have to check this little story again. Do I have to say who killed the horse? Nope, just the trainer.
Apparently the same person who killed the horse also killed the trainer.
We have no guarantees of this. Okay.
Um,
Now,
actually we do.
in the event of an assassination,
Hmm.
is it the person who ordered the assassination or the person who did the killing? You wouldn't know, would you?
No. Unknown, unestablished.
Okay, well, let's go to the hotel.
You know, what you just said about insurance being a choice on the previous case kind of goes against the thing you were just saying about this is not detective work.
Yep, it's not.
Some fresh silver paint was found on the stall floor of Night Dancer, another of Sir Reginald's horses.
Wait a fucking second. Okay. Okay, keep going north.
Alright, let's get us that badge, and this time do not lock anything. Jensen is now working at the locksmith shop.
Okay. Keep going.
Motive clue, 3 parts. Number 2, another word for positive or certain.
It's insurance. Okay, go down to the Herald.
Motive part 3, creatures that love picnic.
Mm-hmm. Down. It's ants. Now the pawnbroker, please.
Right. That's the south-going building, right?
Mm-hmm. It's the purple one below you. Nope, the entrance is on the other side.
So it is. I need a third screen.
Yeah.
The pawn ticket at the scene of the crime belonged to Sir Reginald Cosgrove.
Okay, great. And stabbed. Take me to Baker Street.
You think you have an idea here?
I do. I would like to see the quiz, please.
The killer is...
Cosgrove, number 3.
The weapon is...
Broken bottle.
The motif is...
Insurance.
Nicely done.
Thank you. Sir Reginald Cosgrove, in dire need of money, concocted a plot to collect money from his large insurance policy on Silver Patch. Sir Reginald painted over the silver patch on the mane of his prize horse and painted a silver patch on the mane of Night Dancer, another of his horses. He then switched stalls and poisoned Night Dancer, who now looked like Silver Patch. Realizing that he would have to take Oscar Swit into his confidence, Sir Reginald arranged for his trainer to meet him at the stables. When Swit refused to go along with Sir Reginald's plan to kill Night Dancer, Sir Reginald became enraged and killed the trainer, smashing him over the head with an ale bottle, then stabbing him repeatedly with the broken bottle.
Excellent work. Good rating, too. Sergeant, good show.
Indeed.
How did that one feel, getting it that quick?
A contrivance. Contrivance all the way down. Um, another.
Okay.
I just feel like I may have spent more time taking notes than I did to solve the case.
Such as detective work, I suppose.
Maybe.
Or contrivance, one or the other.
There's just a lot of people who did not appear in that story.
The Adventure of the Chameleon's Vengeance. And the story is such.
Oh god, this is so long! Okay.
Baron Kivers, a boyhood friend of Sherlock Holmes, arrives from Switzerland with a fine Swiss pocket watch as a present for the famous sleuth. Byron, Watson, and Holmes are about to leave for the playhouse, where violin virtuoso Alfredo Fettuccini is going to perform. It is well known that Holmes is a violin buff, so Playhouse director Sir Charles Higginbottom has asked Holmes to play a duet finale with Fettuccini. While Byron, Watson, and Holmes are waiting for their carriage, Inspector Lestrade rushes up some ominous news. The chameleon, a master of disguise, has escaped prison. It was Holmes who originally captured the chameleon, and the criminal swore vengeance on this, the first anniversary of his capture. Fearing for his friend's life, Watson attempts to prevent Holmes from going to the concert, but the detective is adamant. At the playhouse, Madame Clara Leslie, a wealthy patron of the arts, presents Holmes with a potted geranium. Carriage driver Jerome Magnuson tells the party he'll return to pick them up after the concert. Watson attends to the WC and returns with a sudden case of laryngitis, blaming it on his nervousness concerning the chameleon. That's water closet, by the way. Mm-hmm. Sir Charles Higginbottom personally greets Holmes' party to show them to their balcony seats, and Holmes notices that Sir Charles is extraordinarily pale. The chameleon has indeed formulated a plot which involves a deathly surprise for the master detective. In order to abort the chameleon's plan, Holmes must find out A. What the surprise is, B. Where the surprise is hidden, and C. Unmask the chameleon.
Okay.
Are we ready?
No.
Okay.
That's not what any of this means. Charles Higginbottom. Okay. Let's begin. Game is afoot.
Thank you.
Sorry. To the bank! The most criminal of all locations.
Surprise clue. 3 parts. Part 3. More than one sip.
Three parts, you say?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the surprise clue.
Yep.
So, presumably sips? Right? Could it be anything else?
That'd be my
Is
first
there any
thought.
other word that means that?
That would be my first thought. I mean, it
Okay.
could be slurps or something. I don't know. For simplicity, I'm going to think sips for now.
To the hotel.
Part 2 of the surprise clue. What the wind does.
Okay.
Alright.
Get our credentials.
Lestrade was taking the chameleon to a new prison when the criminal escaped.
Oh, Lestrade was there, wasn't he?
Hmm.
Okay.
Hiding place clue. 4 parts. To compete
Part
with is
1.
number 1.
Okay. Down to the Herald.
Right, yep. I'm beginning to learn. Clara Leslie is not the chameleon.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Why? This. Okay. Can you at least see why this one makes me mad?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you ready for this next one?
Yeah.
Watson's laryngitis soon passes.
Oh, that's huge. Okay.
Next would be the docks, yeah?
Yes.
Whoops. Overshot it. Chameleon clue. 2 parts. Number 2. Past tense of the verb tread.
Trod. 2 parts?
2 parts.
Oh, it's Lestrade. Okay.
So basically, what is 3, where is 4, and who is 2? How do you
It's the where I'm having. Well, unless it's like a town location.
How do you lock the docks? Anyway.
Hang on one second. To compete with. I need another clue.
Alright. So, to the park.
Yes, please.
Chameleon clue, part 1.
Yeah, I don't want this
opposite of
clue.
more.
A different clue. Get me something else.
Okay. Playhouse, I think, is our pattern.
Yeah.
Hiding place clue, part 4. After J's come...
Okay.
Do you need another clue?
Do you know it?
Not yet.
Yeah, I need something else.
The carriage driver is not the chameleon.
Okay. Fucking...
Let's move on. If you're ready.
Yes.
General clue. The chameleon expects to see Holmes high-strung.
Does that make any sense to you?
No.
Good.
Care for a drink?
I did.
Surprise clue part 1. The alphabet letter after W.
Yeah, no, I had a feeling. They really are holding the only thing I need to know to be the very last.
Well, I certainly hope that the locksmith holds that clue.
And I hope it makes any sense at all.
Hiding place part 2. The alphabet letter before P.
To compete with? To compete with.
That's part 1 of hiding place?
Yeah, I know the answer now, but I don't understand what it means.
Trying to think of any words I can think of.
To compete with.
Clue 4 was after J's?
Yes. I know the answer, but I don't know why I know the answer.
What do you have?
It's docks.
What was clue 3?
There isn't one. Or at least not yet.
The hell? How could that be? What did we miss? Where did we miss?
I did not write them all down this time, so I couldn't tell you if we skipped one.
So, to compete with D.
That's what I don't understand. To compete with.
The letter before P is O. K. Okay, so we know the where. We know the who. Do we know the what? What clues do we have for what?
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, please.
So, it's explosives.
Bombs? We have bombs?
Yes, we do.
So we have dock bombs planted by Lestrade is what I'm getting here. Fuck it, shall we take it to the apartment?
Yes.
What is it?
It's explosives.
Where is it?
It is... Oh.
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 It's the violin case, but I...
Yes. To compete
vie.
is to vie.
Ah.
The letter before P is O. Lynn, I don't know what the... huh? Yeah.
Case.
Yes. So, number...
Oh, 2, please.
And the chameleon is...
It's Lestrade.
Why would Inspector Lestrade... Whatever.
Oh, he didn't do it on purpose. He got Master of Disguise did. He's probably tied up in a closet somewhere, in his boxers.
Please, by all means.
Oh, disguised as Inspector Lestrade, the chameleon planted explosives in the violin case which housed the instrument Holmes was to play in the duet finale at the Playhouse.
That's it? No arrest, no aftermath, no fucking nothing? What a disappointment. Violin K's.
Indeed.
I don't know. The fact that it's multiple choice kind of gives us some saves, huh?
It sure does.
I mean, look, for what it is, I don't think it's a bad game.
No, now that I know that that's what it is.
We have an hour 4 left.
I think that works for me. I could do at least a couple more of these.
Okay. And here we go. The Adventure of the Coded Message. And I fear there may be an incoming rant. Here it goes.
This is so absolutely not. Okay, give me give me a minute.
I mean, for the I got to read this anyway.
Okay, here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to take any notes based on this. I'm only going to take notes based on the clues, and I'll just refer back to it.
That's
I
fine.
don't have time for this shit.
That's fine. Last week, the sad song of a hungry canary drew landlord Hilda Trevors to check the small room above the pawnbroker shop, where she found the canary's owner and proprietor of the pawnbroker shop, Rafer Harmon, dead of a heart attack. Harmon was slumped over his Edwardian-style desk, surrounded by a room full of assorted pawned items such as a riding saddle, a cobbler's bench, a complete set of Old English armour, a handmade wooden battleship, and old hand-carved hotel sign, a collection of Dutch pottery, and an array of musical instruments, clocks, and watches. On the desktops next to Harmon was an envelope addressed to one Harry Blake in care of a prison in Switzerland. An investigation by Scotland Yard has revealed that Rafer Harmon was actually Rudolf Hinkle, a petty thief wanted by authorities for his involvement in a number of burglary capers. Hinkle dropped out of sight a few years ago after double-crossing a band of fellow thieves involved in a London museum jewel heist. Hinkle disappeared with the two most valuable items of the heist, the famous matching Eyes of Lucifer pearls worth over £50,000 apiece. His partners and Scotland Yard have been searching for Hickle ever since. The envelope on Hickle's desk contained a note, apparently written in code. Scotland Yard believes that Hickle knew he was dying and penned this note, intending to send it to his old friend Harry Blake, who is due to be released from prison in 2 weeks. The coded note reads as follows. Unable to crack
If I
the
didn't
code.
have the thing in front of me, I would have called your mom to go check on you.
I'm sure she would have gotten a grand kick out of it too. Unable to crack the code, Scotland Yard has come to Sherlock Holmes for assistance. The Yard wants Holmes to A. Translate the coded message.
That's it.
That's it. Watson shakes his head in bewilderment as Holmes studies the message, takes a puff on his pipe, and remarks that this should be a rather elementary code to break.
Okay, let's...
Say it.
Oh, the game's afoot.
Thank you. The first clue is O equals P.
Oh, is this really... Take me to the next place.
Okay.
Okay.
K
Okay.
equals L.
Hang on. This is extreme bullshit of the grandest variety.
Would you like some assistance from me on this?
I would like you to pause while I write down the phrase, and then I'm just gonna fill them in.
There are 18 blanks. The 18th letter is P.
O equals P, and we have K equals L.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, continue.
Hickel had a history of heart trouble.
Don't care. Not my problem.
Oh, that's good.
Nobody's asking me to perform the autopsy.
The eyes of Lucifer were too hot for Hickel to unload. He still had the precious pearls in his pants when he died.
Okay.
This way. C equals D.
Only one of those.
Are we ready to solve the puzzle, Pat?
No, not even close.
Whoops. I will learn this one day, I promise. The message tells where the eyes of Lucifer are hidden.
They only wanted me to do the code, right?
That's the only criterion given, yes.
Yeah, so fuck all the rest of this stuff.
The message contains 3 words.
That'll be nice.
Which leads me to the hypothesis that the R's may be blank spaces. It's only a hypothesis, however. It could be the H's as well.
That is possible.
R equals S. And lend some credence to the H's being the spaces in question.
Oh, yes, you may continue. I'm sorry.
D equals E.
D equals E. D equals E. You may continue.
Two of them.
Oh, a double.
Z equals A.
X.
And X equals Y.
Z. Oh, is this fucking... Oh, they're all just one off. Okay, give me a minute. You already knew that, didn't you?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. X equals Y?
Mm-hmm.
X equals Y. Did I mess up writing it down? It's not also scrambled, is it? Because wouldn't Q be R?
You'd think.
I would think. Here's the problem with that, is YR is, there's no words that are that. Okay. It's gotta be scrambled then.
There's one
Fuck
other,
me.
There's one other thing I'm looking at here.
H I N I R A. Uranus Nisselrape.
I'm sorry, one more time, please.
It's not going to come out the same the second time.
It'll summon a
Your
different demon, and I'm okay with that.
Uranakadisnisillarype.
Two things here.
Please
One,
help.
one, do you remember that time we did Doki Doki Literature Club and I did all the backwards reading? I'm having pleasant memories of that.
You think it's backwards.
Yes, I do.
Pearls. Pearls inside. Oh, that's horrifying.
Isn't it? Oh.
Okay, take us to Baker Street. Pearls inside canary. Why is the canary... They said the canary was hungry.
Is Kuro nearby to hear you say those words in that sequence?
She's thankfully distracted.
Oh, good.
I mean, do the thing. It's number one.
And, by the way, you may notice that there's exactly one scenario here that's got 18 letters in 3 words. So you could kind of cheat by going straight to 221B and seeing number 1 fall in by that clue. So, let's have the horrifying story that comes out of this.
Knowing death was near, Rudolph Hickel forced his canary to swallow the valuable eyes of Lucifer. Hickel then attempted to notify his good friend Harry Blake by writing in a code the two had developed years ago.
So the bird ate the man's pearls. Wonderful. Okay, so since you're not writing clues from the notes, or from the story, I take it we should no longer be copying them over.
What do you mean we should no longer be copying them over? That's the reason I'm not writing them down, is because I can afford not to.
Oh, okay, good enough. The Adventure of the Clerk's Demise. And the story is as follows. That's 360 some odd characters too long. Stand by a moment.
Sorry, it's too long to paste? Is that what you just told me?
That's what it says. So here's one.
Fuck
and here's
this.
2. So, anyway. The story is
absolutely not. Okay. It's just the whole novel. There's dialogue.
Inspector Gregson and his Scotland Yard assistant, Inspector Alfred Cook, have braved the bitter air of one of London's coldest winters on record to come across town to 221B Baker Street. Standing before the fireplace, the 2 Scotland Yard detectives wait until they are sufficiently thawed out before they finally speak. Addressing Holmes and Watson, Gregson relates the circumstances surrounding the curious incident of the tobacco clerk, Manfred Maloney, who was found stabbed to death in the tobacconist's shop this morning. Near the dead man's body were a puddle of water and a rolled-up newspaper. The forefinger of Maloney's right hand was smeared with blood, and the word Erin, as in the girl's name Erin, E-R-I-N, was scrawled in blood on the cigar case above his body. Gregson believes that if they can just find a woman named Erin who knew Maloney, they can solve the mystery. Gregson's assistant, however, has suggested that the word Erin is a code word of the Urs Cairns, a secret revolutionary group active in Ireland during the country's last struggle with Britain, and he believes that Maloney's death was some sort of revenge killing. Gregson asks Holmes of which of the 2 theories Baker Street sleuth thinks correct, but Holmes expresses his wish to visit the scene of the crime before embracing any theories. At the tobacconist's shop, Holmes notices that the area around the body is in disarray, as if someone had been frantically searching for something. And above the back shelf, next to a photograph of Maloney himself smoking a pipe, is a large hanging calendar. Penciled into the calendar block containing today's date are the initials DH and the time 9 a.m. Did you find a weapon? Watson asked the Scotland Yard detective. No, replies Grayson. Do you have any witnesses or suspects? None. The body was found this morning by carriage over Daniel Hardy, who stopped in the shop to purchase some pipe tobacco. Indeed, remarks Inspector Cook. This is a very complex case. It seems too much to hope that we will ever find the solution. Feel like a run as Holmes?
Not so, Inspector.
Offers a confident Holmes.
Sorry, keep going.
Offers a confident Holmes.
Quite often, the more complex a case appears on the surface, the simpler the actual solution.
Holmes assures them that they will be able to discover A. Who, B. Weapon, C. Motive.
I assure you, we will be able to discover who killed the tobacco clerk, the weapon, and the motive. The game is afoot.
Motive clue, 2 parts. Part 1. The darkest color in the spectrum.
Well, they either mean purple or black, I think.
I think it'd be safe to assume that black will be considered a color in most modern circles.
And that's the motive? Oh, it's blackmail. Okay. Why? Because, okay. Next place?
Mm-hmm. While stationed in Ireland years ago, Hobson was dishonorably discharged from the British military for mistreatment of civilians.
Yikes. That has to be pretty bad for the British to actually criticize you for treating the Irish poorly, so that must have been pretty fucking heinous.
That leads back to an old St. Patrick's Day gag I did at work.
You better explain that really fast, because right now I'm thinking of some pretty horrific shit.
I changed my desktop to show a big old British flag with the Irish flag shoved down in the bottom right corner, down tiny.
Okay, that is funny and also awful.
One of my coworkers was a history buff, and I thought he'd get the biggest kick out of it. He couldn't stop laughing for 10 minutes.
That's pretty funny. Okay, that's fine. Next clue.
Yeah, we have to get a badge regardless, so here we go.
Sure, whatever.
Complete killer clue. A person who prepares food. Look back to the story.
I am looking to the story. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
What? What did he have to do with it?
I would suggest by reading this that he's the killer.
I mean, yeah, but fucking why?
How else do you get rid of a bad person? Not by jailing.
Sorry, who had gotten dishonorably discharged? Mahoney, right? The victim?
Yeah.
Or Maloney. So, okay, fine. More clues, because we still don't have the weapon.
The opposite of female, you've already determined that for motive part 2. Cook's real name is Donald Hobson.
Fine, great.
Oh, no, that's relevant.
No, it is. I understand. This is, again, a little bit of a contrivance, because I would not... I mean, I guess Holmes would do this, because this is just his whole thing. But if I was being asked to consult on a case, the stuff I would investigate are not the people who asked me to consult. I would investigate the case.
Mm.
But this is why Holmes is better than me, because he knows, I guess, when to ignore the case itself in favor of getting suspicious of the police officers who brought it to you.
I mean, this also does establish motive. Why would Cook want to kill somebody? Maloney was an opportunist.
Oh, was Maloney blackmailing Cook? And Cook killed him to get out of the blackmail?
Smells plausible enough to me.
Blackmailing? Why? I still need a weapon.
Weapon clue 2 parts. The USSR emblem is the hammer and that's your second part.
Hammer and sickle, right?
I believe so.
Oh, I get it. I'm ready to solve.
Okay, then off we go. The killer is... Oh, that's a hint right there, isn't it?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah. Number.
Yeah, it's number 1.
Mm-hmm. Weapon.
Icicle, number 4.
Uh-huh. And motive.
To stop a blackmail attempt, number 3.
Yeah. There's a genius to using ice weapons.
Yeah. They're not as effective now that we have, like, good fucking chemistry stuff.
But it'd be awfully hard to get fingerprints on a melted
That is true.
weapon. The endgame, please.
Oh, I'm so sorry. 2 years after being dishonorably discharged from the British military, Donald Hobson changed his name to Alfred Cook and tried to start a new life. Neither his eventual employers at Scotland Yard nor his wife and children knew the truth of his past. Manfred Maloney stumbled onto Cook and attempted to blackmail his old army buddy. To protect his secret, Cook killed Maloney with an icicle and tried to make it appear to be the work of a radical political group. That first clue, the second clue we got. Who did it tell us was dishonorably discharged for being bad to the Irish? I thought it was the victim. But I guess not. I guess I could go to the stream and rewind, couldn't I?
Yeah, and I mean, this would be pretty easy to find. We can just bookmark by which case.
I'm just going to the stream. It claims that someone is watching this.
It claims an awful lot of things.
Okay.
Whoever it is has not identified themselves in chat, so I don't really care.
I cannot rewind it.
The YouTube video will be up tonight anyway, so...
Why can I not rewind it? Why do I sound so congested on... Very strange. Well, can't find nothing. Won't do nothing.
The Adventure of the Rewritten Death.
If it's long again, Oh no, this will be our last one.
This one is considerably shorter.
Thank Christ.
Not 100% short, but shorter. The curtain rises on the third act of a Playhouse mystery. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson attending the performance. Playhouse star Roderick Garrick, dashingly costumed in a crimson uniform, acts to solve the puzzling death of a fellow officer. In the wings, Vance Hilliard, Garrick's understudy, stands silently reflecting on each movement the noted thespian makes. Playhouse owner Ogden Bennett, fretting over declining ticket sales, paces nervously behind the scenery. On stage, the lovely Regina Fulton, actress wife of playwright Stephen Fulton, sobs under questioning. Albert Boswell, attired in a green officer's tunic to denote the Rifle Brigade, steps to her side. In a stunning denouncement, Garrick reveals Boswell to be the murderer. Cornered, Boswell draws a revolver. The two men grapple. A shot rings out. A second shot ensues. Boswell recoils, falling lifelessly between the footlights. Applause is short. Regina Fulton hysterically screams for a doctor. Albert Boswell has been murdered.
Whoops.
Roderick Garrick swears the second shot did not result from the staged fight. Prop master Cliff Acker insists he loaded the gun with blanks, and playwright Stephen Fulton, discounting rumors of an affair between his wife and Boswell, vows the sole reason he wrote the confrontation scene, substituting a revolver for a knife, was in the interest of better drama. Holmes must find out who killed the actor and why.
Oh, the game is afoot.
No Sherlock Holmes mystery can begin without that line. Bennett considered Boswell's run-of-the-play contract financially disastrous.
Okay. Interesting.
Sounds like it might play to a motive, at least.
Perhaps. Yeah, I guess we don't need the weapon. That was pretty obvious.
Fulton knew of the affair between Boswell and his wife.
Okay. But he says that's not a problem. Badge, please. Clue, please.
The murderer. Call my mother. The murderer fired the killing shot from a good distance.
Okay, fine. Keep going. I'm not ready yet.
Boswell refused to marry Regina.
Yeah, 'cause she was married. Oh, I guess that... What? Okay.
Garrick desperately feared that Boswell's performance would garner greater critical acclaim.
Desperately feared. Okay.
Killer clue 2 parts. Part 2. A unit of measure.
But which? Well then, it's gotta be... Oh. Well, technically, a ton is a unit of measure, but so is a yard.
Which do you think? Depending on what clue 1 is, it's going to give it to us one way or the other.
Yeah.
But I'm going to call that the clue is something to the effect of smaller than a mountain.
Yeah.
But there is one for the other case. Fulton bought a gun the night the play opened.
He bought a gun. I mean, it's certainly stacking up to be Fulton. But...
Motive, 2 parts. Part 1. As many as the blank in the heavens.
Stars?
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So... Now I've gotten back to thinking it's the understudy Vance Hilliard. I don't know why. Like, he wanted to be a star?
The murderer was colorblind.
Okay, fine. Now I know who it is. Let's go solve it. This sucks. Alright, it's not that bad. But it's Vance Hilliard and he meant to kill the other guy because he wanted to kill Garrick so he could be the star because he was an understudy and he didn't want to be. and all of this affair stuff is a coincidence. I had a feeling something like that was going to happen. Anyway, the killer is Vance Hilliard, number 2. And the motive is to gain the star's role. Please, number 3.
Absolutely right.
Yep, thanks. Understudy Vance Hilliard planned to murder Roderick Garrick to obtain the star's role, but owing to Hilliard's colorblindness, the actor mistakenly killed Albert Boswell.
Whoopsie diddles.
Yep, cool motive, still murder. Alright, I think I got one more of these in me.
Okay. And then do you wish to proceed with this over the next 2-3 sessions?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Then we close this with case number 7, The Adventure of the Pillaged Pawnbroker. Let me get here. No. Yeah. Yep. Sure. And the story is such. Early this morning, Miles Balfour, the proprietor of the pawnbroker shop, was found stabbed to death behind the main counter of his establishment. The lock on Balfour's front door had been broken and £5 11 shillings was missing from the pawnbroker's cash till. A careful inventory conducted by Scotland Yard also revealed that the bizarre thief had absconded with the following items: yesterday's newspaper, a porcelain flower vase, a ball of string, and a helmet which was unbolted from a complete set of Old English armor. Mrs. Eunice Balfour, who discovered her husband's body, is at a loss to shed further light on the tragedy. She recalls that her husband, who had recently purchased the shop from Alistair Krebs, had only bitter words for his unprofitable investment. Indeed, Mrs. Balfour could remember only 3 customers during the entire week. Newspaper reporter Henry Kirk, who paid in coin to redeem some books, Mrs. Phyllis Cahill, who cleaned out her husband, John's attic, and playhouse manager Wilbur Partridge, who pawned a dusty prop box for which he couldn't find a key. Scotland Yard theorizes Balfour happened to surprise a thief burgling the shop during the night, and they have arrested Polly the Pick Chandler, a petty crook who was seen in the area. Informed of the facts of the case, Sherlock Holmes is convinced a thread of deeper logic runs throughout the extraordinary affair, and that Scotland Yard has yet to find killer, weapon, motive.
The game is afoot.
Your first clue is killer clue, 2 parts. The letter after J.
Well, okay. Hang on. It wouldn't be...
Consider an alternate pronunciation of one of the names. The way I pronounced one of them may be misleading. If you'd like me to tell you which one, I will.
Do you think it's Kirk?
That's possible. And the one I was thinking of was the name immediately after that.
Phyllis Cahill?
Yeah, pronounced that way is also possible.
Oh, it's the first. Yes. Okay.
So it could be another word for bother for Kirk, or smaller than a mountain or something like that for Cahill.
Clean out husband John's attic. Yesterday's newspaper. Flower vase. Okay. Well, I'll need a little more than that. But yes, Cahill makes sense, and I had not... I think I was looking at the second half.
Motive clue, 4 parts. The Wizard of...
Presumably Oz.
Kirk's hobby is numismatism.
It's true. Say the word again. I know I've heard it.
Numismatism, which
Is
means
that PNU or just NUM?
oh, NUM. It's NUM.
Okay, it has nothing to do
Yeah,
with air pressure.
there's no silent PP.
Alright,
Yeah.
continue.
A priceless Chinese object of art was stolen recently from the museum. What would a Chinese dart have to do with this?
I was always just told like an objet d'art is like a sculpture or like a tchotchke or something valuable but has like not necessarily inherently like it's certainly not useful, let's put it that way.
Fair enough. Killer clue.
Yeah, it's Cahill.
Yeah, high ground. Okay, we have one. We're going to need a little more than that. Motive, 4 parts. Part 1, the letter before N. Do we already have a motive clue?
I think Oz was motive.
Okay, so M something something Oz. I do not know. Do you?
Not at the moment.
Chandler has a solid alibi.
That's nice.
Partridge was at the pub at the time of the murder.
Okay.
We kind of already eliminated him. We know the murderer.
Through no fault of our own.
Motive, part 2. For cake is... fucking Christ and the cracker. A cake is frosted with ice blank.
Okay. So I know the motive. And I know the murderer.
How do you get a motive out of Wiener blank Oz? Get it? I see Wiener.
Oh no! Honestly, I don't think I would have gotten that.
Okay, so Ming, Oz, and there's still something in the Chinese Ming vase.
Yep, the Chinese objet d'art.
The letter after U or the letter before W, I'm sure, is the part 3 clue.
Right. So, and it's Mrs. Cahill who cleaned out her husband's attic.
But I don't believe we have a weapon.
I don't think we do either.
The missing flower vase was one of the items Phyllis sold from her husband's attic. Well, thank you for handing us that.
Right. Right, cool.
Alright, we need a weapon out of one of these 3 locations. A broadsword was part of the set of Old English armor.
I see. One moment, please, while I refer back to the story.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
he was
something about
stabbed.
that.
So let's Baker Street, please. It might be faster to go to the carriage house.
You think so?
I do. If this is the tobacconist.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 1,000 times faster to go up to the carriage house.
Yeah.
Baker Street. I would love to solve.
Who is it?
It is... Oh, it's John... What? Okay, John Cahill. I thought he was dead. Broadsword. To retrieve the... Oh, he's not dead, but she cleaned out the attic and he wished that she didn't. It's the Ming vase.
That's it.
While cleaning out her husband's attic, Mrs. Phyllis Cahill inadvertently included among the items sold to the pawnbroker a secreted Ming vase John Cahill had stolen from the museum. Cahill traced the priceless Chinese objet d'art to the pawnbroker's shop and broke in, placing the Ming vase in an armor helmet for protection and wrapping the treasure with newspaper and string. When Miles Balfour surprised the thief, Cahill killed the pawnbroker with a broadsword from the set of Old English armor and, as an afterthought, robbed the cash till to throw suspicion from himself. So did he take the sword or not?
The sword wasn't stolen.
So why would we have to figure out the murder weapon if there's a literal bloody sword in the fucking shop with him?
Fine question that I cannot answer.
This game is 2 out of 10.
There are 2 things I want to do for science.
Okay.
What happens if we solve it wrong? Because at no point tonight did we get anything wrong.
Which case is this?
1. So I just need to not do 3, 2, 1.
You remember the sequence?
I believe I do.
Wow, wild. Okay. Oh, wait, I have another science thing. I want to see if the clues are the same in the same places.
Oh, sure, yeah. Let's do this since we're here. So it tells you how many incorrect answers you have. And then you lose the badge.
I see that.
Do you remember the clue for the apothecary?
Of course I don't, but let's look at it.
I believe this would have been Longworth has constant headaches.
Oh, I would know that. Because that was the same as when you booted this up to show me what it was, and you went into the apothecary, and that was the same clue he gave then, too.
Which should pretty much confirm that, yes, these are the same
cases. They're all static. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And the second thing for science, I'm going to have to restart this. Because I want to see what happens on no clues at all. If it accuses us of doing the cheat. Or something to the effect. What about this secret tunnel? Whoops. Well, that screws that up. Try that one more time. And this time we will not do anything funny. I would like to clairvoyantly purport that Earl Longworth killed him with a sword because of a manuscript.
Yeah, I have no problems with that.
Splendid deduction, you say? Right. All right. So, what's your overall take on this?
Having it be multiplayer would make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I know that it's not all going to be actual detective work, and some of it's just going to be, can you figure out this puzzle? That was an expectation thing on my part. I was expecting a little bit more, I don't know, I guess effort on their part to write cohesion, but I guess what I have to remember is that Arthur Conan Doyle did not make this board game. board game writers made this board game.
Hmm.
And they probably didn't have the time or inclination to write a full mystery story the way modern mysteries are, where you should have a slight chance of playing along with the detective and being able to come to the same conclusion.
Mm.
Um,
All that having been said, I do have a way to make this work on a tabletop simulator setting. All I have to do is pull up a private message on Discord and send the operative person the operative clue.
that is true. Although,
A lot harder.
what I would say is, I go back and forth about whether or not everyone should hear them, and it's just at the mercy of whether or not you're smart enough to figure it out, even though you're hearing it too. But their clues are so easy in general that how could you not?
Well, that, and I mean, in the context of like a real competitive game, which I don't know why anybody would take this in that direction, but being a standards and practices guy, it would eliminate the need to travel to that location, which kind of slices away at the game itself. So
Yeah, you can all make the agreement of like, well, let's all aim for different places, and best of luck to you, but we might as well work together to uncover the most amount of information, and whoever gets the turn advantageously
yeah, depending on the
races up to
Mhm.
to Scotland Yard and gets the badge first.
Yeah, depending on the taste of the group, there are several ways to go about this game. The one I am choosing is, at least to start out as an experiment, just a straight up game where you get the clues that you earn by visiting the location, and it's up to you to proceed.
Yeah. Well, I would say just I don't know if she would be as bothered by this, but I would say warn Blue Genius before you start that like some of them are you get facts and you make deductions, and some of them are fun little word puzzles that just give you answers.
Mm.
And as long as she goes into it knowing that, I think everybody will have a nice time.
I'm on the fence about that only because it could potentially be a spoiler. Like, do you? I there's
The
a
only thing you would be
case.
spoiling, I think, is the tone.
You think so?
You're not going to get, as long as you don't give any examples. As soon as she comes across one, she'll realize what's happening. But as long as she's like, I was warned that this will happen, and she's not expecting it to be. This doesn't play like a mystery novel. This plays like a game for youngish people.
Like a puzzle game.
Yes, and as long as I was taken aback by that, so I know I'm kind of projecting, she might not have any expectations nor any weight to those expectations, so it could be totally fine.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Were I in your position, I would mention it, but only because I'm projecting like crazy.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, I mean there's certainly stuff to think about going into this in the position that I'll be in. But I have approximately 23 hours to figure that out. In the meantime,
Well,
this gave me practice on the general mechanics of it, so thank you very much.
yeah, I mean, some of those hours should be spent sleeping, and some of them should be spent having dessert.
Oh, well, yeah,
Um,
that's going to happen. And maybe some of it working. I haven't decided yet. But anyway, um, any early going thoughts for next week?
um,
I can take another turn, or you can do another thing. Totally up to
let
you.
me peruse my library. I've been looking for an excuse to buy Potionomics, but I don't know if I want to pull the trigger on that just yet because I know for a fact that I have a story game that we haven't done yet.
Mhm. I
Um,
have a few interesting looking little titles. I also have Pac-Man World, Star Wars Starfighter, as a couple of retro-ish titles that I could bring up. Few others about here. I mean, depending on what you feel like doing. If you decide to pass and have me do another thing, then I'll pull another thing and we'll do a thing of some kind or another.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Um,
that's literally all I can come up with right now.
I would be willing to do that. I would be willing to do.
Well, at this point, I'll knock off the stream and come back to one of our channels next week, and you'll see. And
I
remember,
do
you
that.
have very businesslike breasts.
Hey, that's not the